In order to go ahead and give our logo a little bit more eye appeal, we're going to take a look at how we can apply layer styles to our text and to some of our layers. The first thing we're going to look at is the text that we have here. We see we have half moon. We're going to look at some of the original properties of the text. More than likely we're just going to look at the color. So we see that the color is originally black, and we also see the kinds of font and how big the text is. It's at 150 points. In order to apply a layer style, we could right click and we could go up to blending options, or we could choose a better way of doing this by going down to the layer panel and selecting the effects button. Here we can apply whatever layer we'd like to apply. We'll go to blending options first, and we will apply a drop shadow. Notice the drop shadow is immediately impacted onto our layer. We're going to choose a normal drop shadow, and we're going to increase the spread of the drop shadow to about 27 or 25 to be exact. We're not seeing the spread being affected yet, so we need to change the size. Notice what happens as I change the side scroller. The drop shadow is coming in a little bit more, and it's being retained in the layer. We also see that we have the original property of black. If we want to change this property, we could choose a color overlay. Notice the color overlay immediately impacts the layer. We're going to click and we're going to select a white color. We'll click OK. And we're going to look at one more thing before we go. We're going to look at this stroke. And we're going to bring this up to 8 points. And notice the stroke is now being applied to our text. We'll click OK, and we'll see that the layer styles are on the fly, meaning we could change them on and off. Much like the visibility of our actual layer. We'll scroll down and we'll look at one last layer style before we go, and before we work on our crescent, and that will be the gradient overlay. Notice I can immediately impact this by selecting it. We're going to reverse it, and we'll see that our layer style is being impacted on the actual layer itself. We should also understand that as we transform our layers, that the layer style will retain, and notice that we still have our drop shadow and we still have our color overlay. We'll Control Z and step backwards, and we'll now take a look at our crescent moon.